way to start a talk, falling your head off. Thank you. I'm so honored to be here with all of you. I've learned so much from all of you already this weekend. And I want to start by saying, yes, I do. I'm a counselor. I work with individuals all day, every day, and I consider myself to be Dr. Shefali's worker bee. So what I mean by that is that, you know, she's teaching us these principles that we are then and now leaving to go back to our respective homes to implement in our own home. And I have the honor of working with individuals one-on-one or in groups and allowing us to embody these teachings. And that, for me, is a sacred journey. And I want to share a little bit with you about what I've learned. You've heard that saying, many of you may have heard the saying anyway, we teach what we most need to learn. So I'm going to share with you my learnings about self-care. I was on my way to pick up my son from school. He's 13 years old. I pick him up, get him in the car, start talking about his day. How was your day? What happened? What do you have for homework? Look over at him, and he says to me, Mom, with all due respect, now first and foremost you gotta know, when your child starts a sentence with all due respect, the rest is probably not gonna be good. But he says, Mom, with all due respect, you really need to smile more. You're always so serious. I'm like, me? Really? Because I think I smile a lot. I think I'm very happy and joyful and out there. And he said, yeah, Mom, you know, I get in the car and the first thing you ask me, when are you gonna do your homework? What do you have for homework? Are you gonna do your homework before you jump on the trampoline or after you jump on the trampoline? Are you gonna do your homework after dinner, before dinner? What's your plan? We need a plan here. And I'm like taking the dagger out of my heart, but being the conscious parent that I strive to be, I resisted the urge to say to him, well, if you would do your homework, since we've been talking about homework, as soon as you got home, got it out of the way, then I wouldn't have to ask you 10 times what's your plan for doing your homework. But I withheld that urge and I simply asked him, you know, tell me more. And he says to me, well, Mom, I give them my whole day already. So why should I give them more time in the afternoon? Like, right? So I get home, and I go to my chair, which I often go to, and I sit with myself. My son has just said to me, Mom, you need to smile more. Mom, you need to be more serious, or you need to be less serious. You're always so serious. And I sat in that chair and I asked myself, tell me more about that for myself. And you know what answer I got sitting in my own chair? The serious place inside of me, my tribunal, said to me, yeah, I want to smile more too. The serious place inside of me didn't want to be so serious anymore either. The serious place inside of me wanted to smile, wanted to be more engaged, wanted to be more full of life, wanted to be more connected. And I went deeper and I asked, okay, how is it that I can nourish this place inside of me that is screaming out to be more connected, more engaged? What do you need from me? What do you need from me to feel nurtured, to feel nourished, to feel more fulfilled? You know what the answer was? It was go take a yoga class. That was the answer that day. I can sometimes say, oh, you know, I'm doing great, I'm doing good, all is good. My yoga teacher, who I love and adore, happens to teach at a studio that is an hour drive from me. So it can be very easy for me to talk myself out of taking that hour drive. Well, it's an hour drive over there, then the yoga class is an hour, then an hour back. And I can easily talk myself out of going to a space where I get fed. I can talk myself out of nourishing my own spirit. In the chair that day, it was simple. Go take a yoga class. What I'm learning about self-care, and I'm going to speak mostly to women in this particular example because I feel it speaks to women more than fathers and men, and I believe that this is an area we can learn from men. What my experience is that women feel guilty when we take care of ourselves, and women feel guilty when we don't take care of ourselves. Yes? Because when we think about taking care of ourselves, we think it's what?
Selfish.
What?
Selfish.
We think it's selfish. I didn't have to say the word. It's in the cultural ethers. As Bryant was speaking about earlier, we've been indoctrinated. We've drunk the Kool-Aid that says self-care is selfish. Are you kidding me? I am here to say that I have learned that I believe not taking care of ourselves is the most narcissistic act we can actually partake or not partake of. So my mission, my passion, what I would love for every one of us to leave here today with is saying, I am not going to buy in to the notion that taking care of my spirit is selfish. And you know what? The first night here, the second person that asked a question on Friday night, I don't know if you're in here, but you asked about self-care. And yes, your blonde hair, I've been looking for you all weekend. What's your name?
Heather.
Heather, I've been looking for you. Heather asked the first night, so I knew it was on the radar here, right? And I work with it every day. I told Dr. Shafali I almost stormed the stage that night to go, I know, I really want to talk about that, because you know what I really believe? I don't believe that one of us in here really believes that it's selfish. I really don't believe that.
We want permission.
You want permission. Funny enough, side's tangential story, I've just written a book, and the title of the book, in my mind, the working title was going to be Permission to Thrive. And then Ariane Huffington wrote Thrive, so I'm working with the title, but permission, this is it. We want permission, but don't fool yourselves. There's not a parent in this room or an individual on this planet that actually believes that taking care of yourself is selfish, right? Because on the planes, right, we all hear it. If the plane's going down, put on your oxygen mask first so you can best assist your child or the person next to you. Does any one of you ever have the thought on a plane when a flight attendant says that, oh my God, that would be so selfish. Put on your own oxygen mask first. I would not put on my own oxygen mask first. How selfish. We never think about that when the plane's going down. So why do we think about that in our day-to-day life? Because what I'm telling you is self-care is not for the faint of heart. We know that conscious parenting is not for the faint of heart. As Dr. Shafali was just saying, to implement this takes more time and consciousness. And we need to inhabit the consciousness to be present with our children. How do we inhabit the consciousness to be present with our children? We need to nourish our spirits. The individuals that I work with every day, they long to implement these teachings. Do you not long to implement these teachings with your child? What I'm telling you is that, and I loved what Bryant was also referring to Emerson and Thoreau earlier, because this is also my experience with many of us. We're dying on the vine. We're leading these lives of quiet desperation, as he so eloquently said. Because we're not nourishing, all we have is our spirit, as we've been learning about all morning. It's not real. What we're leaving this planet with is our spirit. What we came into this planet with is our holy essence. authenticity. Did we all not come together here this weekend to reconnect at a deeper level with our own authenticity, with our own essence? Yes? When you believe that putting yourself first, I'm going to use this word first, is selfish, what I believe and have come to know is it's because in our culture, we are not taught, as Lori and Emily were also sharing this morning, we are not taught how to be with discomfort. So I've learned that I think it's really easy to say, oh, self-care is selfish, I can't participate in that, because you know why? When we actually take the time to sit in our chair to meditate, and when we actually take the time to go to a yoga class or go take that walk that he was talking about in nature, when we take that time, what happens? We are left with ourselves. And we've been taught to avoid that at all costs. Yes? So this is our invitation. Our invitation is to learn to be present with all of us. All parts of me, all of my tribe, my whole tribunal, every last asshole. You know, we want to be able to sit with every one of them. She calls them her assholes. What I call them is my unadopted children. You know, because you know, when you go and you go to foster homes, you know, everyone wants like the infants, and no one's wanting the 6-year-old, and then God forbid the 8-year-old, and then you see the 12-year-old, you know? Another family came and went, another family came and went. Well, that's how I think of it with us. Oh, that's my anger. Oh, that's my frustration. Oh, that's my, you know, entitlement. Oh, that's my, you know, frustration. Well, those are all my children that I don't embrace and adopt, right? They're my orphaned children. They're my orphaned children. My work, my job is to adopt all parts of me. And this is why I think self-care is the most misunderstood spiritual technology that we have on the planet. And I'm calling it a spiritual technology for a reason. Because we know the power of meditation. And to really be able to sit with ourselves, what we need to learn is how to be with the discomfort. But who said that life was going to be comfortable in the first place? Our first experience, even through a birth canal or birthing, it's not life. There was no guarantee that it's going to be comfortable. And I don't believe for a moment any of us really need it to be anyway. So we have an opportunity to transform. The definition of the word transform means to come back to a similar experience, but I myself come to that experience different. So when we leave this conference, we're all going to go back home and we're going to either have to get dinner on the table or deal with a homework situation or the bedtime or the brushing of the teeth. Those routines will still be there. Evidence of our transformation will be how I show up to the same circumstances and situations that I had before I came to this conference, yes? And I've been talking to you all this weekend, and sort of the conversation this morning that I heard anyway is like, how can we take this energy back? How can we take this energy back, right? Because when we feel into this, what happened? Every one of us went to some degree of inconvenience to be here without our children to what? Nourish our own spirit. So what I know is that the essential word for nourishing our spirit is first. When you go back home, if you leave here today willing to nourish your spirit first, I'm going to promise you your life will change. Your life will be transformed. Why first? Everyone thinks it's selfish. Oh, I must put my son before me. I can't tell my, mom friend that my husband and I, this is just to be naked here, we have a system where my relationship with the universe, my relationship with myself, my relationship with God's spirit, my higher self, my transcendent self, whatever you want to call it, that's first. My relationship with my husband is second. It comes from my first. And my son, we have a joke, my son is third. By putting myself third, he ends up first because I'm filled. But we have to do work to move through this density that is going to say, oh my gosh, she puts herself first. I want us to leave here proudly saying, you bet I do. You bet I put myself first because it's the best thing I can do for my son. It's the best thing that we can do for our children. If you read any financial book, many, 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 many paths to financial empowerment, financial freedom, financial liberation, many paths, yes? Every one of them will say the same thing. Pay yourself. Pay yourself first. You will not read a financial book that says pay yourself third, right? And obviously there has been much research done. Those who pay themselves first never get to the end of the month and can't afford food or pay their rent. Much research will show you those who say, oh, I'm going to pay myself right after I pay my bills, rarely end up saving. Is this accurate? Why do you think that our spirits are any different? When we say I'm going to nourish my spirit right after I do the dishes, are you kidding me? I need to nourish my spirit in order to bring my spirit to the sink. Right? Quiet desperation. We're disconnected, not from our children. We're disconnected from our own spirit. So it is my mandate to go to my chair first or do my spiritual practice or that. And I like to say self-care, even rather than meditating or spiritual practice, because it sounds way too lofty for me, and sometimes, it just feels too lofty. Sometimes for me, calling a girlfriend and having a really heartfelt connection with my girlfriend, I am good to go for the dishes. Because the connection that I get from that conversation, it's non-linear. So what is the first excuse that any one of you is going to have when you get home to why you can't take care of yourself first? There's not enough. So you all know the answers to this, right? Say it. There's not enough what? Time. Okay, here's the other thing. I don't think any of you buy into this either. Yes, 24 hours a day. Yes, we have lots of things to do. Yes, that is finite. But you know what? Our relationship with our spirit is non-linear. It's outside of time. So think of any moment that you've had this weekend. Does it feel like, oh my God, we've been here from 7 to 9 and then 8 to 4? No, we're outside of time, are we not? Think of a moment you had with one of your children. Maybe it was coloring, maybe it was walking in the park, maybe it was a conversation with a girlfriend. What happens when we embark on these experiences and activities that nourish our spirit is that we begin operating outside of linear time. I don't know about you guys, but we live here for a nanosecond. I want to make the most of my nanosecond, right? And I don't want to spend my nanosecond that I'm here on this planet going 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, I want to live outside of linear time. When you look into the eyes of another being that you adore or your child in that moment, you're outside of time. When you color with your child, you could color for 20 minutes. You're outside of time. And then what happens is the results are exponential. So this is the great thing about self-care. It's not that 1 and 1 is 2, or 2 and 2 is 4. I meditate for 20 minutes, I get 20 minutes of good time doing the dishes. It doesn't work that way, and this is the great news. I meditate, or I have that conversation with my girlfriend, or I go out for that walk in nature. More than what you do, it doesn't even matter what you do. It matters that you listen to the calling of your spirit. And when you answer the call of your spirit, you will be catapulted outside of linear time. And you will have a 20-minute time with your child that will now give you the energy and the presence to be with your child for the next 3 hours. So I am a different individual with bedtime with my son when I have experienced living outside of linear time. Does this make sense to you? Are you willing to sort of do this as an experiment?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. I would love for us to take a moment, because I believe that every one of us right now, our spirits know what's calling us, right? So if you would, just take a moment to close your eyes. Just gently close your eyes. You may want to place your hands on your heart, not necessary, but if you do, it's a physicalization of allowing your mind to rest. You need our mind to let our mind let it rest for a moment. Connect with your heart. It's simply a willingness to connect with your own spirit, your own essence. The place inside of you that is longing for that freedom, that is longing for that liberation. And ask a simple question. What do you need from me to feel nourished? And listen for the answer. What do you need from me to feel nourished? To feel fulfilled? And whenever you're ready, gently open your eyes. Hold that simply close to your heart, and I want to work with that for a moment. So something is longing, so there's a yearning. As Thoreau said, we have been indoctrinated to live these lives of quiet desperation, and sometimes we feel like we are dying on the vine. But what I've come to know is that we're actually dying to live. We're actually dying to live. And the fact that we have so much of this sandpaper and so much of these irritating moments, both within ourselves and with our children, I love the irritating moments. I love the irritants. You know why? That's your soul calling you. That's your soul calling you, going, a life of quiet desperation is not what I signed up for. And our souls will not rest until we answer the call. And this is the good news. It's the good news that our soul won't rest. It's the good news that it won't just stay in the back pocket there, quiet, not disturbing anybody. It's good that it's shaking us up. So the next time you feel that irritation and you want to project that irritation onto your child, just remember, this is the good news. Let me take this back and let me ask this place, what do I need to feel nourished? To then go back to my child in the way that I know every one of us wants to and seeks to and yearns to be with our children, yes? So just shout out to me, what is something that anyone got that you need to be nourished? Love. Self-love?
Yes.
Self-love, we could stay here for a whole nother weekend on self-love. Self-love. I'm going to interpret for you kindness towards myself, non-judgment towards myself. Take myself off the, crucible, kindness to myself, self-acceptance. What does someone else need? Sleep. Sleep. I could talk to you for a weekend on sleep. I can't tell, well, we know because this is all the issues. Why? Because are you kidding me? I can't tell you the number of people that come to me in a day and say, I can't take a nap while my child sleeps. I got to do the laundry. I mean, are you kidding me that you're not going to give yourself what Dr. Shefali said, permission to sleep? I was just at a remarkable evening with Deepak Chopra, and with his new book that's coming out, and it's proven, and we all know this, sleep is what is going to connect us with our spirit. What else?
Physical movement.
Physical movement. First thing I tell anyone that comes to me, I don't care what you do, move your body. I don't care what you don't do, move your body. We're stagnant. We have to move. Move your body. You can get a jump rope. I always say the best parenting advice I had gotten before I met Dr. Shefali was from my yoga teacher, Gurmukh, and what she told me was play music and dance with your child every day. Best parenting advice. And to this day, as you know, my son is 13. I dance with my son every day. He'll dance in the kitchen. Yeah. It's free. It doesn't take any extra time because you got to cook breakfast anyway. So we're cooking breakfast, we're dancing in the kitchen, we're playing, music. It's great. Why would I not do that? Move our bodies. And moving our bodies to music, even better. There is nothing like music to connect us to our heart. There's nothing like music to remind us that we're alive. We're here to live. Yes, we're here to be fully awake. Rumi said, don't go back to sleep, right? The other Sufi statement that just keeps, coming to me during this weekend is to be in this world, but what? To be in this world, but not of it. It's the swirling that you all were talking about. We are all yearning to connect with the Buddha. We want to connect with this Buddha consciousness. It is ours. It is ours. Make this your first priority. Everything else will change about your relationship to your children, because why? Everything will change with your relationship with yourself. This is not for the faint of heart, because it's not always, daisies and roses. Sometimes, as I had to that day when my son gave me the feedback he gave me, I have to sit with myself. You're going to have to sit with yourself and adopt all these places inside of you that you would so much prefer push away. You just want to come to I just like to come to a conference, push them all away, learn about them, go back home, let them stay here at the Renaissance and not have to deal with it. But I'm telling you, adopt these uncomfortable places and you will be more fully alive. You will wake up in your essence, in your authenticity, and your children will feel it. The end of my story is about a month after the day of my son getting in the car. I'm in my office and he walks into my office with a little index card. And on the index card, it says, A+, mommy smiling more. And I'm telling you, you have to clap for me, not for him, yes. It was because I went to my seat. It's because I went to my yoga classes. It's because I put myself first. I promise you, you will get the feedback from your children that you are seeking and longing for. We have to do the work first. We all have to agree here. Please, can we use the collective consciousness, the collective power that we have here? I know there's power here. Can we use this power to say, when I walk out of these doors today, I'm putting myself first, I'm putting my spirit first, that I may create an overflow for my children. I want to give from my overflow, right? Are you with me?
Yes.
Would you be willing to maybe say some affirmations with me? I'll say when you repeat it. Does that sound okay? I am willing to nourish my spirit. I am willing to nourish my spirit. Okay, are you really? Let's stand up. I'm really passionate about this. I'm really serious. I'll say it first. I am willing to nourish my spirit.
I am willing to nourish my spirit.
I'm going to say it one more time. You're going to repeat it one more time. This time you're going to smile. I am willing to nourish my spirit.
I am willing to nourish myself.